If you're a small business owner, I don't need to tell you, you're already aware there's a lot to juggle. From marketing your products or your services to managing finances, it can be a lot. But one area that often gets overlooked, much to my dismay, is the legal side of things. Today, we're going to dive into some of the top legal mistakes that small businesses make and how you can avoid them. Before we get into those mistakes though, hello, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Colorado. This teeny tiny adorable little sleeping angel is Little Bird, of course, and you are watching All Up in Your Business. While I am a lawyer, I am not your lawyer. The stuff I talk about in this video is not a substitute for actual legal advice. If you need help with any legal situation, you should consult with a lawyer. All right, enough of all that. Let's get into the top legal mistakes and how you can avoid them. Mistake number one, you might be surprised. I use AI to help me kind of script out some of these videos and get kind of ideas. And the number one mistake that AI suggested for me was not incorporating your business. But I'm not going to do that. I think especially for solo business owners, incorporating or forming a corporation or an LLC for your business isn't always necessary. It's not always that beneficial for you. So instead, I think the top legal mistake, number one legal mistake, is thinking that the LLC or even corporation is kind of the end-all be-all of personal protection, liability protection from your business. There is another important thing that you can do, whether you're operating as an LLC, corporation, or as a sole proprietor, to protect yourself individually, protect your own assets and your own personal liability. And that thing is insurance. Sure, an LLC gives you separation, liability separation, and helps to protect your personal liability, but it does nothing for your business's liability. Insurance helps with that. There are a ton of different types of insurance policies, different coverages. I'm talking just kind of general liability insurance. If you or your business gets sued, ideally the insurance is going to help cover whatever damages, whatever liabilities, your legal costs, whatever might come up from that lawsuit. So don't think that just because you formed an LLC or a corporation, you are done and you're good to go. Don't skimp on looking into insurance. I personally am a big fan of MBroker. For an insurance marketplace. They specialize in business insurance policies and they have pretty much every policy under the sun. I have an affiliate link with MBroker that I'll put down in the description if you want to check them out. But whatever way you go, talk to a good insurance advisor, insurance broker. Make sure you're getting the proper kind of coverage and the proper amounts, everything that's suitable for your business. Legal mistake number two is ignoring intellectual property rights. And I'm talking the rights of you and the rights of others. So protecting your own intellectual property by registering your business's trademarks, like your business name or your business's logo, registering copyrights for any kind of material, creative content that you use in your business. Maybe you make videos for your business. Maybe you write books. Maybe you have marketing materials or online courses. Maybe you create music or something. Those things are all protected by copyrights, and registering those copyrights are going to help protect that intellectual property. And of course, make sure you are not stepping on the toes of anybody else's intellectual property rights. So with your business name, your logo, any of your trademarks, take adequate steps to make sure you're not infringing on somebody else's trademarks. Best way to do this is by talking to a trademark lawyer, of course, and make sure you're not infringing on anyone's copyrights. This happens a lot with use of images on maybe your website or in your marketing material on your social media account. Just because you see a picture on the internet and you can right-click download it, that doesn't mean that it is free for you to use however you want. Photos, images have copyrights in them. Somebody owns those copyrights, and in order for you to be able to use them without infringing, you need a license or permission to do so. So don't use any kind of content, photos, anything else without making sure you are properly licensed, you have the adequate license or permission to use that content. Mistake number three is skimping on legal documents. I'm talking contracts mostly. These can be contracts with your business partners. If you are going into business with someone else, you want a contract between you and that other person about what this business partnership looks like. I'm also talking contracts with people who are going to be helping your business, independent contractor agreements or employment agreements. And then of course, contracts with those that you are going to serve. Service agreements with your clients, maybe NDAs or confidentiality agreements to protect some of the proprietary information of your business. All of these things, all of these contracts are going to make sure you are, number one, complying with the law, and to kind of ensure that your business operates smoothly and help you to avoid issues, disputes, problems with your business partners, your employees, your contractors, and your clients or customers. Ideally, you will have a lawyer draft all of these contracts for you. I beg you, please don't just go online and find any old template and think that you can use that and it'll work for your business. That's almost never the case. But there are a few good resources for good, well-drafted, well-written contract templates. I, for one, am a big fan of the CEO Legal Loft. I have an affiliate link for the CEO Legal Loft that you can find down in the description. I know the owner of the CEO Legal Loft myself. She is a lawyer. I've personally reviewed a lot of her contracts. I think she does a great job at them, and so I trust her contracts pretty fully. Mistake number 4 is neglecting or not being fully familiar with employment laws. The biggest one with this that I see all the time, and it's such a big mistake, is improperly classifying workers. Independent contractors versus employees. You might be inclined to hire somebody and call them an independent contractor or a 1099 employee or a 1099 contract or a contract employee or something like that, because it's going to get you out of a lot of obligations like paying payroll taxes and maybe workers' comp and stuff. But that's a big mistake, because if you are improperly classifying an employee as an independent contractor, you can get in a lot of trouble with the Department of Labor in your state. You can have liability issues that come up. You can get in trouble with the IRS. You can get in a lot of trouble. So check the laws of your state, the state that you're operating in, or the state where your worker is located, to see what they say, what your state says about when someone's an independent contractor versus when someone's an employee. Even better, consult with a lawyer to make sure you are properly classifying your workers. Aside from that, though, of course, following, proper hiring processes, collecting the paperwork that you need when you're hiring an employee, and being familiar with employment laws like minimum wage requirements, overtime pay requirements, meal and rest break requirements. Employees have rights that you as the employer have to honor and be aware of. So again, check with a lawyer if you're not sure about that. Mistake number 5 primarily applies to if you're going into business with others, if you have business partners, and that's not having good partnership or other agreements with those other partners. If you're operating as an LLC, this is usually in the operating agreement. The operating agreement of an LLC will define who are the members, who are the owners of this LLC. What is each person's role in the business? How much do they own? How do we make decisions? How do we handle it if we're disagreeing on something? How do we resolve these disputes? What happens if one of us wants to get out of the business or one of us isn't upholding our end of the bargain? The operating agreement or a partnership agreement, maybe a shareholder agreement, these agreements with these other people who have some ownership or interest in your company are going to help the business operate smoothly and avoid these disputes from becoming major big issues that are going to damage or destroy your business. Mistake number 6 is inadequate data protection. I'm talking mostly, let's say, privacy, handling privacy and the data of others. If you have a website, for example, if you have a website for your business, and if you collect any information at all from your website visitors, you need to have a privacy policy on your website. And when I talk about collecting any information, I mean that can be a contact form where you collect a person's name and email address. Even information kind of on the back end from analytics. If you're collecting data about how people interact with or use your website, again, you need a privacy policy. There are data protection laws in pretty much every state, maybe not every state, but most states have some kind of data protection laws. The EU, other jurisdictions have laws about it as well. You need to be familiar with what those requirements are and make sure you are complying with them. And you need to take certain steps if you're collecting anyone's information. This also includes maybe your employees' information. We want to make sure we are securing and properly storing that data. So taking good cybersecurity measures to protect and ensure that this info we're collecting from our clients, maybe payment information, maybe really sensitive personal information, making sure that doesn't get into the hands of people who shouldn't have access to it. And then the final mistake number 7, is not having any kind of succession planning. This is the future of your business. What's going to happen to your business if you die or you get disabled, or if you just decide you don't want to, you retire, you don't want to do this anymore? It's a good idea to have some plan in place for what happens in those instances. So look into business succession planning. Sometimes this can involve life insurance to cover the key employees in your business, to cover yourself. So if something happens, your business has funds to handle that situation. It also goes back to those agreements with your business partners. What happens if one of the partners dies or gets disabled? And there's also an element of estate planning here. What happens to your interest in the business when you die? Who's going to get that interest? Who's going to manage the business after you? You don't want to leave your business partners or your family kind of scrambling to figure out what happens now. Don't let these legal missteps trip up your business or your business's success. With a bit of knowledge and research and proactive planning, you can prevent and avoid these common pitfalls. If any of these things that I've talked about have raised red flags for you or getting you stressed or concerned, I strongly encourage you to consult with a lawyer who deals with small business. Get that personalized guidance and advice for your specific situation. That's all for this episode, folks. If you learned a thing or two, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click that little bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video, and check the description for links to additional information and resources, including links to some of the companies and resources I talked about today. I started off this video talking about insurance and why it's really important. I have another video solely dedicated to that where I go into a lot more detail about why insurance is so important for your business. You can check it out right here. I'll meet you over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham. This is Little Bird, and we'll see you next time. You sweet little angel. Meow.